Alright, as always, you can go to YouTube channel My Medical Nightmare and see 40 plus hours video on everything that happened to me. Alright, big update in this case. According to the Associated Press and Birmingham, Alabama TV station WVTM Channel 13, in news dated April 14th, 2025, a lawsuit that accuses Alabama prisons of illegally harvesting organs of people who died while incarcerated will be allowed to proceed. State Judge J.R. Gaines has ruled. The consolidated lawsuits filed by 8 families allege the Alabama Department of Corrections illegally allowed the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB, to take and study the organs of their deceased incarcerated relatives without the consent of the next of kin. The families say that the public entities intentionally hid their misconduct. The judge denied the defendant's motion to dismiss the case based on immunity, which protects state officials from lawsuits if they are acting within their official capacities. Lawyers for the defense argued that the Alabama Department of Corrections and UAB had a contract authorizing the autopsies. Because the contract was between 2 state entities, the defense argued it was protected by state immunity. The judge wrote that immunity doesn't apply if their actions violate the law or when they act willfully, maliciously, fraudulently, in bad faith beyond their authority under a mistaken interpretation of the law. Gaines also said the statute of limitations does not apply to inmates who died more than 2 years ago if the defendants attempted to fraudulently conceal the alleged crimes. The news report adds, between 2006 and 2015, UAB's Division of Autopsy got 23% of its yearly income from the Alabama Department of Corrections autopsies and 29% from the state's Department of Forensic Sciences, according to a study presented to the Ethics Oversight Committee in 2018 by former medical students. The legal team that Alabama and UAB have representing them is absolutely pathetic. UAB attorney Jay Ezel, get a load of this one. Ezel also said he thought some of the case law included came from fake, hallucinated cases and was written by ChatGPT or some form of artificial intelligence. Truly an impotent defense. The report reads, Judge Gaines also said that the families had shown evidence that the state's Uniform Anatomical Gift Act had been violated and that they offered more than mere circumstantial evidence of conspiracy in their complaints. I've seen a lot of absolutely deplorable things dealing with hospitals and doctors in my own case. This takes things to a new low. Alabamians have to take a stand against this stuff. I think there need to be public inquiries and transparency. All the business that UAB conducts involving human organs. People in Alabama need to know where every organ comes from, where it's going, that UAB is allowed to have custody over. Doctors and medical staff as well. You come in contact with human organs in University of Alabama at Birmingham. You need to demand the chain of custody and the origin. Likewise, any person going to UAB or in the future possibly Ascension St. Vincent's hospitals, you need to be on guard for your own personal safety, because it's obvious that as long as the university needs human organs, they're going to have to get them from somewhere. Especially at risk are the vulnerable, small children, the elderly, individuals with rare illnesses, all possible subjects for research experimentation. People in Alabama, they should not stand for this kind of stuff to be happening in their community. But unfortunately, the community is not what it used to be. It looks like one possibility in the sale of Ascension St. Vincent's to University of Alabama at Birmingham is that the corrupt elements and doctors, the unbridled greed and evil that exists in the area, have scared away and pushed the Christian elements out. Hi, yes, I'd like to leave a message for President Watt.
Sure, I'll be happy to take it.
I was interested in contacting UAB President Dr. Ray Watts regarding the university's recent takeover of Ascension St. Vincent's Hospital's infrastructure and services. I was a patient and customer of many of these doctors over the past several years and suffered major medical fraud, misdiagnosis, malpractice, patient dumping, and a lack of treatment. And there are many others in the state of Alabama who have similar unresolved, outstanding issues. Dr. Watts may be interested in my case. As a neurology specialist, I had broken the underside of my skull in the area of the occipital condyle and condylar canal. Possibly my foramen magnum was also fractured or broken. A very serious injury. I almost died from. Yeah, I went to St. Vincent's, had MRI, CT, and x-rays taken. I was told that I had no injury. I knew better because I almost died from whatever happened to me. Got my records, and I was given written and signed radiology reports from Ascension St. Vincent's that I had no injury there, but the injuries show up in the pictures. So Dr. Watts, he could look at what happened to me. You can see 60 hours video documentation on my story at YouTube channel My Medical Nightmare. Ascension did business the wrong way during his tenure as the manager of these facilities, and UAB inherits these risks, debts, liabilities. At the same time, they try to present a new image for their acquisitions. As a patient and customer, I believe UAB must immediately assess and expunge corruption from its hospitals and staff, and in fact, its future business success depends on this.
If you would you send an email to that? Take your time. It's at president@uab.edu, and there you can spell out every concern you have and what you think he needs to know, and then we can make sure it gets to him and other proper authorities.
Okay, thank you very much, because this is a very serious matter. Okay, thank you.
And I'll watch for your email.
Between 2018 and 2019, I was an emergency department patient at Ascension St. Vincent's East Hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. I believe I had broken my neck. I had an x-ray, 2 CT scans, and later an MRI looked at by Ascension St. Vincent's doctors. Each time they had told me I had no injuries in this area, I knew their diagnosis was an error as my condition worsened. The area became infected and infested with parasites. By summer 2019, I almost died. I obtained my medical records from your hospital along with the x-ray, CT, MRI imagery, and discovered the truth of my injury. I had broken bone in the underside of my skull in the area of the condylar canal and occipital condyle. How the doctors could have missed such a large and serious injury over multiple hospital visits is inexcusable. I believe some element of organized corruption may exist in this hospital. I believe I may have been a victim of patient dumping in the course of my seeking treatment, which is a violation of EMTALA, E-M-T-A-L-A. When I told medical staff associated with Ascension about my discovery that I had been misdiagnosed repeatedly, I was personally attacked and my psychological state was challenged, and this is reflected in medical records I obtained later. I could not obtain proper treatment or diagnosis for this injury because doctors and nurses that I would subsequently have encounters with would only entertain what the erroneous Ascension ER findings were. My mother, who was a nurse for 20 years, had the misfortune of working in an Ascension hospital. When I questioned my MRI findings involving St. Vincent's Ambulatory Healthcare Network LLC and Dr. Michael Brandt Ruff, MD, radiologist, in March 2019. My mother, who was a nurse for 20 years and worked in the Ascension Hospital, she was terminated from her job there around the same time.